Man, I'm having a hard time understanding you.
At all. Yes.
Yes. You asked me a question and I'm going to answer it. Or Tracy had asked that question. Paycor can process all hours, all paperwork. It is an upgrade in your service. I've asked for quotes from Paycor about what this might expense. A year ago, we passed a resolution approved by the trustees to go to time clocks. Time clocks eliminate that paperwork shuffle. And it also protects the integrity of the time of the worker that is responsible for timing in and timing out instead of second guessing. They have said, and I'm moving on an answer tomorrow for sure, they can help with this next program. Within a month, we need to have a decision made of what direction we might go. With benefits or things in the range of $40,000+ to the admin assistant. The quote received from Paycor is less than $10,000 to take those additional services with them. But I'm waiting on the print so I can give to all three trustees to review it. But I'm securing the ability to do the payroll correctly by next Friday, even though Tracy was right, it's the following Monday. But I normally want payroll in by Friday of before. And Paycor is working with us because they understand the situation that we're under. If the trustees decide to advertise a job again, with all the litigation that was occurring with the prior employee, I would highly suggest that you three trustees get together and write a new job description to match what you want that position to do. Presently, the job description does not include doing the minutes. So you have to alter the job description, or change it or rewrite it. We have to adopt it in a public meeting, and then we can advertise the job. You can't change the job description and then advertise it without a vote. So that's another reason why the attorneys told me not to advertise before the deadline of the resignation, and then the procedures you have to do to change a job description or create a new one before you can post it.
Can you forward me the email from the legal giving that statement, please?
It's all verbal.
Oh, okay.
Because our legal counsel is leaving on his honeymoon, his marriage and honeymoon. He won't be back for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, we observed with legal help before he returns. But my suggestion is that you see what Paycor can do for you in terms of all their other programs to make the position more automated. So the integrity of the paperwork is improved over the problems that you've had in the past.
Okay. But you said, I heard you say something in there about a month, and after today, then we have Thursday, and you said you needed payroll in by Friday. Who's going to put in the payroll before Tuesday? I always get an email on Monday or Tuesday and saying the payroll has to be in by this date in order for the employees to be paid on time. Will all this go real fast and get payroll in on time? Because will Paycor be able to, without approval from the trustees, be able to do that? That job that the administrative assistant was doing? Who's going to input that data? There was a folder that the trustees had to approve, sign their name, that they looked at all the timesheets. She created a folder for them to sign. there's lots of things she did for them to sign, before she had the payroll. It was probably after, but it was the process is to sign it before payroll was put in. She had that up in the files for them to sign. There's a lot of steps that have to get done. Actually, she would give it to me, and then I would then put it in the file for the trustees to sign. That's why I know that part of the process.
To answer your question, Michael has a meeting with me tomorrow.
Who does?
And if you'd like to sit in on that meeting, you can, Tracy. But they're explaining what they can do. The explanation to me is they can do all that paperwork.
Who?
Sorry, did you say it was tomorrow?
No.
When did you say?
Just a minute.
When?
He said he was trying to find it.
Oh,
I think
okay.
That's what he said.
So in its Paycor, there again, to have all the information we need to make a correct decision, we need to know what Paycor's fee is going to be to provide this extra service versus putting that on and a new employee posting a job, giving it to another employee that also needs to answer the phone and be our public interface between us and the public there at the Calumet Center. So we need to know what kind of money we're paying Paycor, and can we absorb that fee into what Tracy used to do? Excuse, not Tracy, what Adrian used to do.
I would agree with you 100%, Mr. McLaughlin. But you can't make a decision to hire anybody to legally do it by Friday. So we're trying to get Paycor to do it. And then we guys will know what the cost is prior to doing it. And all the paperwork will be done legally. Because on top of that is the state auditor is asking questions of Paycor now. And we want to make sure that our integrity of our paperwork doesn't get touched by anyone that's not certified to process payroll. My suggestion is to see what the costs are tomorrow from Paycor. As any of the trustees, you might have to have an emergency meeting to make a decision on what you want to do with payroll. It really does not have to be processed till the following Tuesday. But we're trying to get everything ready to do it by Friday. So everything is there and correct. Everything that Tracy said was right. Everything that Adrian did manually has to be done. But those steps are handled by Paycor for companies all over the country. And it's called virtual, it's basically virtual HR, virtual payroll, where you don't have the mistakes or possible problems or forms not right. It's all accountable, and then Tracy can have access to all the numbers for her reports, and trustees will have all the right documentations to sign. But I'll know more after tomorrow's meeting.
I'm not sure. Are you going to send me an email to tell me when this meeting is? So, and then also, I'm not exactly sure whether you answered my question because I'm still concerned. You get everything by Friday. What is the steps you're going to do to get that data in there? Because they requested on the Tuesday before the pay is to be done. I didn't kind of quite hear that. I heard parts of your comment, but I didn't hear everything.
Yeah, I'll try to repeat. They'll tell us what they can do, but they were pretty sure, I don't have percentages, pretty sure that they can handle all the paperwork correctly and have it done before Tuesday. And then the paperwork is done by the company starting out until you decide as trustees what you're going to do with the position. But it keeps everything integrity and tight and continuation from what Adrian was doing 2 weeks ago for the paperwork company, but they're processing the paperwork, to make sure the paperwork is right.
Okay, so, okay, I think I understand. Okay, but there's one request, and trustees will have to probably verify if they want you to do this. But Adrian was doing OPERS and OPNF outside of Paycor. She was actually inputting into the system herself. Paycor can also do that. So I guess that's a question that the trustees have to decide, but maybe they should think about having Paycor also do that function as well, and to maybe have a quote on that price as Mr. McLaughlin asked, to see how much more that's going to add into it, because that will keep us from having that in between or having somebody else having to come in and try to learn OPERS and OPNF, depending on what the trustees want. Maybe they want somebody that can do that. That's just my suggestion. And of course, that's due by the end of that's got to be done by the end of the month as well, because it does, April 29th is the last pay, and then we have to do OPNF and OPERS. Paycor calculates that data, but they don't input it. They don't provide the information and send it to those two pension plans. We send them a separate check currently.
Tracy is exactly right. They did mention to me that they handle those reports as well. They filed many other reports for the township already. And so it would take work off of everybody's plate. And it would make sure that the OPERS and the OPNF is filed correctly and on time. So it benefits the organization to at least see what the cost is. We'll add that to the future, which I was going to do tomorrow.
So it is tomorrow when you'll be talking with Paycor if the trustees approve to go ahead and accept her resignation. Is that correct?
Well, it doesn't have any bearing on her resignation. She's resigned. And so that has nothing to do with it. It's separate. But yes, the trustees, I'm saying Steve, clear that meeting and get the information back to us. And then second of all, they have to decide what they're going to do moving forward.
Well, my comment is that I don't need to be in the meeting. I just need to know whether those reports are going to be taken care of, because that affects what I have to do. If those reports are taken care of and a payroll, so that I know where I have to go, like you have suggested, I need to go and get those reports. So I need to know what's going to be done, and is Payroll going to be doing all of it? Then I only have one person to interact with. But if Paycor is not going to be doing all of it, then I have to set up the work, interact with OPERS and OPNF. And I personally would rather just work with one person to avoid any problems, if that can happen.
Tracy, I agree with you 100%. That's what when we received the resignation, I began to think, how can we improve this organization in terms of less stress on you? And the disconnect at times where the numbers didn't get to you on time. And you know what I'm speaking of. So I think if, we got to get the pricing, if the trustees allow me to get it, and then trustees could have a meeting to say what they want to do. If the pricing is under a certain spending limit, we can go ahead and add, at least doing the payroll on that Friday or Saturday, and then they can decide on the full package later. But I 100% am trying to help you make things easier for you to talk to only one person 24 hours a day or access the website 24 hours a day, so you can get your numbers when you're wanting to do your work, instead of waiting on something to be processed by somebody in-house.
I appreciate it. I only have one more comment on this. It was brought up about you guys after this resignation, whether you accept it or not, but you got to have somebody for the position. just consider all the stuff. You're going to have to really consider all the stuff Adrian was doing when you hire the next person. That's all my last comment.
Mr. Wilcox, where are you with your numbers for the fire department? For payroll?
Payroll, we were with TrackSmart that we had our employees clocked in, but we switched back to pay sheets, I don't know how long ago, maybe 9 months ago. So every Sunday, or very, very early Monday morning, I pull all the sheets. I do an audit against the schedule to ensure that the numbers that the employees put down are accurate. Some of our employees' math skills are pretty bad, so I ask them not to total it, and I run the totals on it, and then I would deliver them to Adrian, and she would input them. I have had, or at least I had access to Paycor to input the information directly to their site. Corby and I did that together when Ms. Jones had time off. So I'm familiar with it. It is possible for us to do it. So that is a backup plan there if you need it.
All right, so you don't have no problem making that deadline?
No, and I had to leave the room for a minute. So is it next Monday, or did it get moved to an earlier date from next Monday?
I think he's saying as long as we have it Monday, we'll be okay.
Okay.
And then Steve knows about the roads, and then you only have a few other people to deal with.
All righty.
Any other questions on payroll?
I have something, if I could, Mr. Mann.
Go ahead.
As you all know, the chief and I were out with COVID during the month of December. I think I was gone 26 days in the hospital for 5. We did not get paid. We were not compensated. We were both full-time salaried employees, and our wages stopped. My claims agent at BWC was shocked, used the term wage continuation, that we should have probably still been paid. And then when BWC settled up, they would have refunded or reimbursed the township. This is now gone on, 4 months now? So not sure about the chief, but this has really put a hardship on my wife and I losing all that salary. BWC did send me a check, followed up with a phone call saying that it was much less than it should have been, and use their terminology, quote, "My employer did not supply the necessary information that BWC requested." So that's why my check was so small. So again, still trying to figure out who's going to catch us up here, if it's the township or if it's BWC. But like I said, this has been a unnecessary burden on us.
All right, Mr. Wolf, can you get with him and get this, so we can get this resolved?
Well,
Absolutely, we'll get with him and Chief Wright. This is the first time I've heard about it. But also, we fall under our PPA. Carriers Comp advises us what to do. So I'll start out with a phone call to Carriers Comp tomorrow. They oversee the BWC process. We were informed that BWC workers an extended leave due to sickness was to go 100% through BWC. It was not a decision made by anyone in-house, except it was a information-only meeting Mr. Mann and Mr. McLaughlin was in with myself and Adrian Jones, and we asked whether we do. And you told us to send it to WC. And Mr. Wright, we called him on the phone, we informed Adrian said she informed Mr. Wilcox the next day. We followed your directive. But that's what that's resolved. The chief and assistant chief will schedule a meeting and we'll make conference calls because we really have to solve the problem.
that is true. We did.
Okay.
That is, oops, wait a second.
Any other question or comments from the?
Yeah, I mean, that is true. We did decide to go on BWC from the information we were given. And then I also did made numerous phone calls, did quite a bit of investigation, talked to HR people in other businesses, other institutions. Everybody got paid. other people in our organization got paid and did not have money held. We did not treat everybody the same. They need paid, and we need this taken care of. Just the fact we got treated everybody the same, because we all know that some people got paid through the when they were off sick with the COVID.
Okay. All right, any other comments?
The last comment from me on the procedure before we close out. I just want to let you know on adjournment, we should be doing roll call. That's all I have to say. We haven't been, but we should be.
Want to do roll call on what, Tracy?
On the adjournment. On the
Okay.
adjournment of the meeting.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else, we have about 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and do the roll call that you need to do, Tracy, and we.
Well, you got to.
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second
I'll
that.
second that motion.
Okay, so we have a second on the floor to adjourn. We need a roll call, please. Tracy, please. Can you give us a roll call, please?
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes, to adjourn.
Trustee Mann.
I'll second the motion.
You're
Yes
voting.
or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So in that 5 minutes, see if you can do something with that microphone, Steve. We can hardly understand you. See if you can do something with that between two meetings, please.
Mr. Mann, meeting adjourned.
Yes, we are adjourned.